The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, this just in, that TikTok has formed a U.S. joint venture, has officially sort of sealed the deal. Remember, there were so many questions of what was going to happen with China, and it looks like the White House and China have finalized a deal to sell U.S. TikTok business to other individuals in the United States, giving assurance that it will be overseen. One of the people I'm seeing that it's Oracle. Of course, also Silver Lake, too, is another one. But it looks like there will be several managing partners that will be overseeing TikTok. So China won't be the ones who could get the information and have access to a lot of private information that people were very concerned about when it came to TikTok. So that is interesting news and something President Trump has been working on for a long, long time. Also, as we are talking tonight, just a little bit ago, Jacob Fry, of course, who is the mayor of Minneapolis, who's been the one who said that ICE workers should get the F out of his city. That was the nice thing that he said after that very sad shooting of Renee Good that took place, who I believe clearly was an activist blocking the road. The video looks like she's backing up and then rolling over the ICE agent, trying to at least. But he just came out and he said what ICE is doing in Minneapolis is, quote, political performance. That's an extraordinary statement. Political performance, guys. They're out there rounding up some really bad folks, murderers, rapists, a whole bunch of other things. And Jacob Fry, who is the mayor of the city, he should be saying, thank goodness the feds are here. Thank goodness they're doing some of the dirty work for our local officials. Thank goodness they're taking off some of the worst off the streets. And they are doing that. But he can't even say that. And then there was a number, I think it's about 3,000 people so far, have been rounded up in Minneapolis in just this latest little sweep. So they're doing a good job. And some of the names that have come out there are some pretty bad folks. But Jacob Fry, all he could do to say to anybody associated with any effort tied to Donald Trump is it's, quote, political performance. That's disgraceful. Can you imagine these people are working so hard day and night, and the best that he can do is say, it's political performance. Shame on him. He can't even compliment the brave men and women in federal law enforcement. Meantime, Pam Bondi, who I love, the Attorney General, was speaking out and said that it is time now where they are really getting tough. We're seeing it, of course, with these arrests of those people who stormed that church outside of Minneapolis. You heard what I said. Throw the book at all of them. Don't you guys agree? I don't think you stop at 3 of them. I think anybody who was in that church shouting vile things and pushing people and doing other things, threatening people, talking about white supremacy, throw the book at them. Well, she said also those who are doxing law enforcement, putting out their license plate, putting out their ID, their family's information. She said, get ready because you're next. Here she is, Pam Bondi, talking the Attorney General.
There's a database that's out right now involving people putting ICE agents' license plates and other information out there in the public. It's here in Minnesota, it's in other cities. Can those people expect to face federal charges?
They better look out, because you cannot dox, law enforcement's information is private, and you wonder, why are our ICE officers wearing masks? To protect themselves from these people. We are going to do everything legally we can do to keep our men and women in law enforcement safe and the citizens of this state safe, so they can go to church, they can go to school, they can go to work, and they can feel safe. Minnesota has been a war zone with criminals, no longer under the Donald Trump administration.
I love Pam Bondi. She is no nonsense. I mean, she's great. She is just like no longer. And they're getting it, because guess what? If these people don't get put in their place, if they legally have crossed the line, and I mean legally in terms of done it illegally, and you could legally find charges that they have broken, I say throw the book at them, because that's the only way these horrible protests that are getting out of hand, not the peaceful ones, but ones that are getting out of hand, that's the only way you can throw the book at them. You've got to fight fire with fire. You have to get back at them and say, listen, you're going to have to, you cross the line, you threaten parishioners and their families, had kids trembling. We need to throw the book at you. Here are the charges you're going to face. And they're federal charges. That's the other thing, too. Remember, they are federal charges. So here is Congressman Dan Golden, Democrat of New York, and he's still on this, ICE are a bunch of kidnappers kick. Listen to this one.
But I know that you and your colleagues cannot possibly be okay watching secret masked ICE agents barging into homes without a warrant, pulling American citizens out in their underwear, stopping American citizens on the streets and demanding their citizenship. And that, of course, is not even to mention the violence and Renee Good's murder, as well as everything else we're seeing.
I mean, the narrative is totally unprovoked. Some guy just shows up and starts opening fire on Renee Good for no reason. That's the narrative. Dan Goldman talking about like ICE breaking into homes, pulling people out of their underwear for no reason. He should be ashamed of himself. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Don in Georgia on line 5. Don, your thoughts tonight.
I've got a question that I hadn't heard nobody answer about the invasion of the church in Minnesota. What if that church had a security team and the security team had took about half of them out? Would the security team be justified?
Well, you're saying take them out. You mean take them outside. I hope you don't mean take them out to the woodshed. What do you mean? I'm
taking them out to the woodshed.
Oh, you're taking them out. You're putting them 6 feet under. Okay, now obviously they can't do that, Don. But.
I would have considered them a threat.
Well, I would consider them a threat too. But I haven't seen any evidence that they were carrying arms in the place. They certainly would have a reason to kick them out. If they pushed or assaulted them, they would have a reason to arrest them for assault. They certainly have reasons to trespass. You can't go to that extreme. Don, you can't go to. They are out of control protesters, and you got to treat them accordingly. But let me ask you a question, Don. Don't you think they should have been arrested sooner? And not even just in this. There have been these other protests. How about the people that were throwing bottles at Greg Bavino, who's one of the head ICE folks there, who's running the operation? He couldn't go to the bathroom the other day. He was going, I think it was either a Target or a Walmart. They followed him in and were threatening him and throwing bottles. Today, he was trying to go to a convenience store, and they're throwing a cold bottle in a cold Minneapolis with frozen ice is a deadly weapon. And I don't know why every single one of those people who has done any of those things is not getting the book thrown at them. And I'm not talking under the woodshed, Don, but at least putting them behind bars. Go ahead.
They should have been arrested even before that, but.
By the way, Don, I 100% agree. I think they needed to have been, I believe, a much more harsh. I think, for those who think that the DOJ has been heavy-handed, I think they've been too nice. Because you know what? It's like a bad behavior by a child. If you keep letting it go, it gets worse and worse and worse. And I think that that's what's happened with these protesters. They feel emboldened. And guess what? Now they have a new friend. And his name is Tim Walz. And then they have another little friend, Jacob Fry. And then they got another friend, Keith Ellison, who's the attorney general there in Minnesota. And is it any surprise to anybody that that's the state that's having all these problems right now? You don't hear anything about like Louisiana, where Governor Landry, who is cooperating with Trump and thanking him for sending people in. You don't hear stories about like, oh, horrible ICE overreach or horrible this or horrible that. I mean, that's the incredible thing. It's these local officials who are creating the havoc, blocking ICE, inspiring people, and emboldening bad activity. And I say throw the legal book against them. Don, thank you. Certainly not a dull conversation, that's for sure. Let's go to Mike from the Bronx. Go ahead, Mike. Your thoughts on line 3.
Yeah, Rita, you're great. Always on point.
Thank you.
I'm just so happy that they arrested those church busters, especially the Charlie Manson lookalike. But I mean, it was fantastic. I'm mad about the fact that I would have loved to have been a cop and arrest Don Levin, that smug guy. But sure enough, a liberal judge, let him out.
Yeah, and that's for now. It may get, pushed up, who knows? But so far, the judge has declined to prosecute that judge. But as you know, there could be other layers to this. And it is a little more complicated because he is a member of the media. But the whole issue is how he played, Mike. And I guess my question to you is, when I've covered a lot of protests and things in my life. I've been out in many of them all over America and around the world. But it's a different thing when you're out there actively participating in the protests. So that's where it comes down to. Was he just covering it? Was he helping instigate it? Was he helping plan it? Was he provoking people? If you're a journalist covering something, even if it's ugly or controversial, you are supposed to be sort of a bystander. You're not supposed to be an active participant. So let me ask you, Mike, do you believe, was he a bystander covering the event, or was he an active participant?
He just wanted some attention. The guy's been fired. He has no job. He's not even a journalist anymore.
Yeah, maybe I'm being too kind. Good point, Mike. Thank you very much. Great points. Let's go to Vinny in New Jersey on line 1. Go ahead, Vinny.
Rita, I love talking to you, and I remember you from the beginning when you started out.
Thank you very much. So 3 years ago, you've been following me.
Well, I'm talking earlier than that.
I know. I'm kidding with you. I wish it was 3 years, but it's a lot longer than that, Vin.
But nobody's given me a complete answer. These people are getting arrested. What kind of time are they going to do, Rita? You're in there. You know that.
Well, it depends how many charges. That's the issue. Now, they're talking about, the FACE Act, which is originally, by the way, was created for those protesting like abortion clinics. Then it went further to those who were, sort of KKK even related. I mean, it's an interesting act that many of the Democrats, by the way, were big proponents of. So now the tables have turned because it's supposed to be covering all faiths, all religions, the way you handle things. So it depends how many charges. That's for one. The fact that it is federal charges, and if they can prove a number of these, they could get at least a few years. There's a potential, and it could even be more depending if they can couple a couple extra charges, because federal time is more real time. First of all, I don't see anybody in Minnesota going after any of these people from a legal perspective. Had they done their jobs, the feds wouldn't need to step in. But the good news is this administration's not messing around, and they may add a whole bunch of other charges in addition to that. Hate crimes, there's a whole bunch of stuff. It depends where it goes. They may end up with several charges against this wonderful William Kelly, who just seems like Mother Teresa. Norm described him as Charles Manson. He does have that kind of similar look.
Oh, come on. Listen, Rita, it's great talking to you, and I'm telling you, I've followed you from the beginning. But let me tell you about a Woodhouse.
Thank you.
A Woodhouse. That's where you spanked your kids. There wasn't hangings back then.
No, but the Dad got a little fiery, But the old school discipline. Some people still say that's okay. I didn't want the really old school discipline. That's what I was a little worried he was heading to a little beyond the Woodhouse. But good points, Vin. You always got historically appropriate information, including about me. Thank you, Vinny. You're very, very sweet. Have a great night. 1-800-848-9222.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
Well, as we are talking about the tough job that federal law enforcement has, the Democrats, all they can do is have Trump derangement syndrome. Listen to a blast from the past, Stacey Abrams from Georgia.
Economic populism raised up Hitler in Germany. It raised up Hugo Chavez in Venezuela, and we watched it raise up Trump and his regime right here in America. But when the people have been sold a lie, they lose faith. And when the liars gain and hold power, the people lose the right to be heard unless we fight for democracy, unless we connect it back to what we need.
Equating Trump again to Hitler, the rise of Hitler, the rise of Hugo Chavez of Venezuela, pre-Maduro. It really is incredible. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania, line 5. Go ahead.
Really, it's got me fired. You just got me fired up. You know something? The problem is that we have not declared them to be the Nazis, unfortunately, who are acting like the fascistic tyrants. You know, and this whole thing that's going on right now. I hope that when you look at Biden's DOJ, how they went after J6ers, they went after people protesting at abortion clinics who actually didn't break any laws. Who didn't go into places. Unfortunately, our DOJ just seems to have a little bit of erectile dysfunction. And we just need to get in there there hard and really show them, because sometimes I think some people, Republicans in Congress, maybe they're afraid of what the Democrats are going to do if they get power again. But I got news for them. They're going to do it anyway. And so now is the time for us to play hardball. And also, too, we don't have enough media on our side to let the people, the average person, really doesn't understand everything that's going on.
That's a great point. By the way, Joaquin, you hit it on the head, because I was watching just recently, Joaquin, that on coverage, for example, like of ICE, there's a story that came out the other day that NBC, CBS, and ABC, the coverage of ICE was 93% negative.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Rita Cosby is on.
And leave it to New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani. He is standing by Mahmoud Khalil, telling reporters today that these plans to deport the controversial pro-Hamas protester activist, remember, he's the guy who was leading the protests at Columbia University. He says Mahmoud Khalil is a wonderful man and that this is just an attack on freedom. This guy, remember, was arrested early last year. It's been a long time since all of the legal, I would say he's had a lot of legal options. The 31-year-old Syrian-born activist was slated to be booted from the U.S., accused of committing fraud on his green card application, not listing that he had been tied to some very radical groups and other things, and obviously radical in the United States. And clearly to send a message, said we can't have people who don't love this country, don't appreciate the values of this country. And so, they put that all in their doctrine, where they were going after him and said, we need to get this guy out. So he's had over a year of legal back and forth. I think he's Algerian by birth, or had spent some time there in Algeria. And guess what? The Department of Homeland Security says we're going to grant him that. We're going to send him to Algeria. So Mamdani didn't like this, and this is what he had to say.
Mahmoud Khalil is a New Yorker. He should remain in New York City. We have seen this attack on him as part of a larger attack on the freedom of speech that is especially pronounced when it comes to the use of that speech to stand up for Palestinian human rights. And I will make that clear to everyone, and I have said it time and again, that he deserves to stay in the city. He deserves to be in the city just like any other New Yorker.
He's not like any other New Yorker. He's inciting these protests. At some of these protests, they were shouting horrible, vile things at Jewish students, so much they were terrorized. Remember what happened at Columbia University? All the tents set up and how it triggered so many other protests across this country. I say, get the heck out of here. That's my thought, but not Mahmoud Khalil. He's chummy with Mamdani, and Mamdani seems to think this is just a big, big, terrible travesty. Well, now, speaking of which, I had to talk with you about a case a lot of people are talking about. This is the 5-year-old that some in the media tonight are reporting that a 5-year-old in Minnesota was used as bait and was also arrested, so they say. But here's the real story, as more details are trickling out. Apparently, the father of this 5-year-old was in a vehicle with the 5-year-old. ICE told him to stop. He was leading on a chase. Then he stops the vehicle, and then he gets out of the vehicle and flees. Now, it's freezing all over the country, especially in Minneapolis, and he abandons essentially his son. The driver, the father, is an illegal alien with some criminal history, but he just abandons the son, like in the driveway as he runs to abandon and try to get lost of ICE. ICE catches up with him. They arrest him. In the meantime, the poor little baby, the 5-year-old, is there in the driveway by himself. And an ICE agent goes over and tries to take care of the child, make sure the child's okay. And then they go over to the mother and say, hey, will you take this child? The mother didn't want the child. The mother didn't want the 5-year-old child. How lovely is that? So this poor child who's got the father who's on the run, and then the mother doesn't want him. So what they do is when they finally busted the father, standard procedure, they keep the boy with the father because the mother doesn't want him and the child has to be with one of the parents. So it's sort of standard procedure that a child stays with the parent. You can't have a 5-year-old child without any parents around. And the mother refused. So they went back to the father. And then it turns out the boy accompanied his father. That's standard procedure. They did it during Obama and they're doing it under Trump. You don't want to split up families. That's really what we're talking about. And yet, if you look at the coverage tonight, many people in the media are saying, ICE, terrible, overbearing. They arrested a 5-year-old. They did these horrible things. Now you know the real story. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Eduardo, line 1 in Tampa. Go ahead, Eduardo.
Yeah, good evening, Rita. I don't know if you saw this, but the Latin King member in Chicago got acquitted today. The prosecution tried to put in more evidence.
I did not know that. Let's describe. Is this the one who was who had the hit out on Greg Bavino?
That's the one, right?
Wow.
That's the one. Yep. They tried to get more evidence on there. It was blocked, and look what happened. The guy gets acquitted. They got him sending the Snapchat message to his friend. It's ridiculous, Rita. The judges and part of
let me ask you, Eduardo,
too.
Hang on, before you go further, because this is shocking to me. So tell me, do you know what the reason was from the judge as to why he, quote, acquitted this guy?
No, I didn't get to, there was no mention on that. I saw this on the WGN news in Chicago.
Yep.
But the defense saying, well, this guy never had money and, it was just playing around, he couldn't possibly order such a thing. Ridiculous. That was the defense.
That's incredible. So it was all just wishful thinking. And apparently, there were hints about him coordinating with local people on the ground.
Right.
So, I mean, that is really shocking. And then, Eduardo, I just brought up, on the student protest front, this Mahmoud Khalil, who it looks like he's finally going to be deported. But this guy, you see him in the videos, you hear him. It's clear that he's been a part of these very vile protests, and that's taken over a year. Over a year. And then you're telling me about the system, what happened in this case. That's a travesty coming out of Chicago. That is an absolute travesty, Eduardo.
Yeah, these are woke judges, and I wouldn't be surprised if these jury polls are rigged either. So it's pretty sad.
Yeah, it is. Oh, my God. Well, good people need to stand up And that's why I am at least happy today that at least 3 people tied to the church storming.
Minnesota, yeah.
Yeah, at least there's some good news.
But Don Lemon.
Yeah. Well, that didn't happen yet. We'll see if it happens. The other thing is, too, who knows? Maybe some more information will come forward, or maybe it gets appealed, that decision,
Right.
and maybe another judge will look at the evidence and see it more clearly. Let's pray.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eduardo, thank you. I'm really glad you gave me that update, even though it disturbs the heck out of me. Thank you very, very much. Let's go to Robert in Brooklyn on line 5. Go ahead, Robert. Your thoughts tonight.
Hi, Rita. Thanks for taking my call. Well, I'm outraged. President Trump, he needs to get his appointments. He needs to get people in, government who are going to fulfill what he wants. He's the president of the United States. And you have Lindsay Halligan is out as the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia because the Senate never confirmed her and judges removed to replace her. There's something called the blue slip process that the Senate GOP, they're refusing to eliminate. It allows the Democrats to prevent votes on these appointees in blue states. So in other words, if President Trump tries to nominate someone like get Lindsay Halligan appointed in a blue state and Democrats don't want, then the GOP are not even going to let it get confirmation. It's outrageous. This is a traitorous GOP that they don't even allow to have, a vote on Lindsay Halligan. And so this is outrageous. So he can't, any blue state, President Trump is the president of all 50 states. And the GOP, shame on them. Not only are they not codifying most of his legislation, but they refuse to appoint people the Democrats' objective. It's a blue state. It's outrageous, Rita.
Yeah,
outrageous.
By the way, Robert, I will tell you, they do need to put on their big boy pants because everybody else seems to be really playing for keeps. I want to play this clip, Robert, while you stick with us. This is cut number 1. And this is Whoopi Goldberg. She's on The View, and she's calling for the 25th Amendment, which is like that Trump is mentally incapable to continue serving, which is obviously preposterous. But here she is.
25th Amendment is time. It's time. It's time.
To that point, you would be in a lot of company. You believe at this point that the president of the United States may not have his full faculties?
I felt that before now.
Yeah, but the cherry on the cake was yesterday.
Well, no, there's been a lot of cherries on the cake. There have been several. The cherries on this cake are enormous.
Yeah.
There are
it's
so
a cherry
many.
Tree.
There are the lines in the sand.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a stamp. There's so many lines in the sand.
Even his former White House attorney, Ty Cobb, said that anybody outside the United States who believes that Trump is sane there is nobody outside this country that thinks he's sane. And his former press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, said this presser is bizarre even for him. It's low energy and feels like he's mentally slipping. Well, these are people who are normal, would work for him.
But a 2-hour
press
conference about I don't know what.
Yeah.
Look. He is sitting in a position that is uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm uncomfortable with him as president.
A lot of people
just remember, the 25th Amendment requires the cabinet around him to act.
But we're talking to them.
Well, I know, but I'm just as a dose of reality, his cabinet is squarely with him.
Yes.
Though I do think...
And it's time for them to go, too.
Though I do... This is where midterms, elections, and Congress come into play.
Yes.
And by the way, members of Congress, including Republican members of Congress, have been extremely critical of this Greenland push. We've talked about it here. He won over the cost of living. Absolutely no one voted for taking over Greenland.
Well, now, as you see, President Trump, it looks like that they will expand U.S. military operations there. He says indefinitely. We'll see where it goes, but it looks like there's a happy ending. We'll see where it goes. But the other thing is, you have to hear this. This is Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. I mean, she loses her mind. Here she is, and she really takes what Whoopi said one step further.
They not even going to honestly, they're about to outlaw the idea of white supremacy and white hate. Like, they are about to be like, oh, that's not a thing. Forget the fact that you're talking about getting rid of like the classification for nooses in a time in which we have seen these random black bodies be strung up down south. Also, seemingly at a time in which you're back in office, because what you do is you embolden the hate. You embolden everybody to take off their hoods. That is what he has done. He is the one that is producing this violence.
What a preposterous, disgusting comment coming from a sitting member of Congress. That really is just utterly shocking. Let's go to Thomas in New Jersey, line 3. Thomas.
Hey, Rita, God save to you and your listeners, especially when you go to your churches. My house of worship, Rita, a Catholic church, we're one step ahead of this. We have private security already. So when these thugs come in, these trespassers, these obstructors come in and shoot off their foul mouths and obstruct a legitimate church service, we're ready for them. They will be escorted out of the building. And if they're stupid enough to have a weapon, we're ready. And that's what the churches around this country need to do. And Rita, these Luciferian Democrats, they try to take the moral high ground, and they just spin off like a lot of name calling, and they have the false narrative going. We just have to challenge them on a specific issue. Like Renee Good. Oh, she's a mother. What, that makes her a saint because she's a mother? If she really cared about her children, she wouldn't have been doing what she was doing. When you mess with law enforcement like that to the extent she did, and you try to drive them over, I mean, good grief. She got what she bargained for. I'm not happy that she's dead. I'm disappointed that she cared so little about her children. She made such a terrible life choice.
Well, and Thomas, let me ask you, because you're an attorney, right? I believe you're an attorney, right? So,
yes.
All right, yes, you have this woman you hear on the tape saying, "Drive, baby, drive," like, and then she steps on it and drives. Like, I mean, it really is shocking that. I mean, you learn it from a young age. I'm sure you did it in your household. But if the police stop you, if somebody of authority stops you, you comply. All you say is, I'm not doing anything. Here's my license. Here's my this, officer. Thank you. I appreciate the work you're doing. Have a good day.
The white supremacy, Rita, I was stopped one night, okay? I was with another guy, and we were mistaken for somebody else. We were told to pull over. We got bullhorned. We were told to put our hands on the dashboard and not move. And that's exactly what we did. And it took about 15 minutes for them to realize, oh, no, you guys are okay. We got the wrong guys. But you know what, Rita? If I had gotten out of the car and started shooting off my mouth, it was a while ago, I wouldn't be making this phone call right now. We did what we were told. They ran the checks and realized we weren't the guys they were looking for. That's the way law enforcement is supposed to work. But with these thugs, with these lefty criminal wannabes and criminals, they think they're above the law.
Absolutely.
They behave obnoxiously, and things go south in a hurry.
Right. No, you are right. By the way, did you get mistaken for Tom Cruise, or who did you get mistaken for, Thomas?
I wish, Rita. I wish.
Great story, Thomas. Thank you very much. And everybody, will continue your calls after the break. 1-800-848-9222. But first, support our heroes.
The Rita Cosby Show presents Support Our Heroes.
And everybody, this is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Support Our Heroes segment with a very powerful story from Beverly, Massachusetts. I love this one. The New England Patriots surprised World War II Marine Corps veteran Louis Tanzer on his 105th birthday. I was looking at, 105th birthday with a custom jersey, a card that is designed by the entire team. And get this, a special call from team chairman and CEO Robert Kraft. He was born, by the way, veteran Tanzer, on Christmas Day in 1920. He enlisted in the military in his early 20s. He served in the 4th Marine Aircraft Wing, despite being eligible for deferment during World War II. And he was stationed in the Central Pacific, which included also the Marshall Islands. He also served aboard the USS Altamaha. It is a Liberty ship that supported crucial operations throughout the Pacific Theater. And when Kraft asked all about Tanzer's service on the call, the men found commonality in their Patriots fandom and Jewish faith. Tanzer, I love this answer. He said, I couldn't ever imagine I'd be talking to Robert Kraft face-to-face on Zoom. It was great to meet him and learn that we share common bonds. And how beautiful that the New England Patriots and owner Robert Kraft honoring our great members of the greatest generation. And everybody, all it takes is just $11 a month. Donate just $11 a month to make a huge difference with the absolutely incredible Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Be sure to check them out. They are the best at T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And everybody buckle up and also make sure you stay warm. The mother of all storms may be headed our way. We'll keep you posted, depending where you are in the country. But they're saying up to 170 million people may be affected. And that includes all over the country in many areas. And especially even in New York, they say it could even get up to a foot. So we'll find out more tomorrow, and I'll definitely bring you updates here on The Rita Cosby Show. Let's go to Pete real quick in Staten Island. Go ahead, Pete.
Okay, I'll be real quick. First of all, I'm proud of our president. He did wonders. He got them under his finger. He's even got this mayor under his finger, because I was in Manhattan roaming all around Times Square, everything, walking around, and everything is going back to pretty much normal. There was no people looking to rob you. It was more quiet. The city was fine. So.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And listen, crime overall is down in this country. And listen, that's a big credit also to Mayor Eric Adams. But let's see, when the weather gets warmer, there may be some protests here. Let's hope not, Pete.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?